Welcome back to another episode of Play Action Fantasy Football. We have the wide receiver start sit video about to start here in just a second, but make sure you go and like, subscribe. It goes a long way to help us here on this channel as we are only a year in and we have made some good progress so far. I think we've helped out a good amount of people as well based on our start sit predictions. Can't be perfect, but hey, we do the best we can to make sure we get you guys a championship. I know me and Jonathan have won multiple in the last couple of years. I'm actually looking to win 3 out of my 4 leagues this year, so with that being said, though, let's go ahead and start off with our Thursday night game. We got the Rams and the Saints. New Orleans going to LA in this matchup. You got Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, and A.T. Perry are going to be the receivers. No update on Michael Thomas. As of right now, he's probably going to be coming back, if anything, around playoff time if they can make the playoffs. But Chris Olave, for me, is going to be a start for me in this matchup. Rashid Shaheed and A.T. Perry are sits. Rams side of the ball, we got Cooper Kupp. He's going to be a start for me in this one. Puka Nacua, cautionary start. Cooper Kupp obviously has that explosiveness and being able to do short and deep bomb passes. Saints are fifth against wide receivers when it comes to points given up, so that's why Puka Nacua is a cautionary start. I think this is more of a Cooper Kupp type of game, and then Tutu Atwell will be a sit for me in this matchup. Moving on to Saturday at 4 o'clock, you got the Bengals and the Steelers here. This is a divisional rivalry game. T. Higgins is going to be a start for me in this one with no Jamar Chase. Steelers are 15th when it comes to points given up to wide receivers here. So definitely look for T. Higgins after a good performance and a bounce back against the Vikings there. Him and Jake Brown didn't seem to have that chemistry, so I like T. Higgins. He's going to be a start. Tyler Boyd's going to be a cautionary start for me. He's still going to get a lot of targets now that Jamar Chase is out. And then Trent Irwin's going to be a sit for me. For the Steelers side of the ball, Deontay Johnson will be a start for me. Seems like there's some turmoil going on with the Steelers and George Pickens right now. He's a cautionary start, though, in this matchup, considering that Mason Rudolph is back at quarterback, and also the Bengals are 20th when it comes to points given up to wide receivers, so I like the matchup for George Pickens and Deontay Johnson, but Allen Robinson will be a sit for me in this game. That brings us to our 8 o'clock game on Saturday. You got the Buffalo Bills and the Los Angeles Chargers, and Stephon Diggs is going to be a start for me in this matchup. Only guy, I know he's been struggling the last 2 weeks. This is the game right here that I think is going to show you why he was a top 10 pick. Going up against the Chargers, they were 30th against points given up to wide receivers, near the bottom there, bottom 3. Now, Stephon Diggs does have to make the best of this opportunity here and definitely get you back into some higher-end points here, about 15 or more, is what we're looking for in this matchup. Gabe Davis and Khalil Shakir are going to be sits for me in this matchup solely on the base fact of this is going to be James Cook, Stephon Diggs, and Dalton Kincaid's offense. These other two receivers and Gabe Davis and Shakir are going to be sits for me in this game. Charger side of the ball, Keenan Allen's questionable with that heel injury. If he does play him, he's cautionary start for me. Same thing's going to go with Joshua Palmer. Now the Easton Stick is the quarterback. I'm not a big fan of, how the Stick played against the Raiders. Kind of had some garbage point touchdowns there, and also had a big play to Joshua Palmer on busted coverage. So not too excited about that one. And then Quentin Johnston's going to be a sit for me in this matchup. Brings us to our 1 o'clock game on Sunday, kicking us off with the Washington Commanders and New York Jets. Curtis Samuel is going to be a start for me in this one. A lot of points going to be coming from the slot, I believe, in this one for any of these receivers. I would put Terry McLaurin as a cautionary start and Jahan Dotson as a cautionary start. You got a big body receiver in Terry McLaurin who can go up and get the ball. Jahan Dotson is more of a burner down the field, and then kind of a mixed hybrid is going to be Curtis Samuel in this offense for the Washington Commanders. Now, like I said, a lot of points I think are going to come out of slot, which is why Curtis Samuel is going to be a start for me as he lines up in the slot majority of the time. Jahan Dotson and Terry McLaurin are cautionary starts. Jets side of the ball, though, we got Garrett Wilson. He'll be the only start for me in this one as we're going to sit Allen Lazard and Randall Cobb. It's going to bring us to Detroit and Minnesota here. Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to be the only start for me on the Lions side of the ball here is Jameson Williams and Josh Reynolds. Neither one of them are getting consistent enough targets or enough volume here to put them in a start or a cautionary start category. It just seems like a similar situation. Like the Bills, you got Gibbs, you got Montgomery, you have St. Brown, and Sam Laporta there. So you definitely have a lot of options for Jared Goff to go to. And that's why Amon-Ra St. Brown's the only start for me. Minnesota side of the ball, though, Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison are going to be starts for me this week. Now that Jefferson's back, it kind of opens up Jordan Addison, and man, he's elusive, he's quick, and he can definitely catch. He's got rock-solid hands. I mean, this dude does not drop anything. And then KJ Osborne for me will be a sit in this matchup. Moving on, we got the Browns at the Texans. Amari Cooper is going to be the only start for me in this one for the Browns. Elijah Moore and Cedric Tillman are splitting those targets. to the point where neither one of them is getting a huge volume. Plus, they also still use their running backs, and now they have David Njoku, who's having almost a career year right now, if not already. So definitely want to put Amari Cooper in your lineup, but when it comes to Elijah Moore, Cedric Tillman, we're going to sit them. Texans side of the ball, Nico Collins dealing with that injury. Still, he's cautionary, and he's questionable going into this week. So if he does play, he's going to be cautionary for me. And Noah Brown's also cautionary for me, especially because the Browns are a tougher defense than what they faced last week in Tennessee. And with that being said, they look like they're going to have Case Keenum. It looks like probably no C.J. Stroud, which you'll hear about what I have to say about that. And the quarterback start set coming out a little bit later today, so make sure you look out for that one when it comes out. But like I said, Nico Collins and Noah Brown are going to be cautionary starts, and then Robert Woods is going to be a sit in this game. How about Packers and Carolina here? Jaden Reed's going to be questionable going into this game, and so is Christian Watson. They both have questionable tags on them going into Thursday here. This is recorded on Wednesday. No update as to whether they are or aren't going to have a questionable tag going in. As of right now, it's just day-to-day for these two. And then Romeo Doubs there as well. So we're going to go ahead and start Jaden Reed. If he does play, he's even with Christian Watson or without Christian Watson, he's definitely got that connection with Jordan Love going right now, and it's great to have, especially because you need somebody who's consistent. He's been consistent enough to put him at a flex position. So definitely keep an eye out on Jaden Reed. Christian Watson, if he does play, he's a cautionary start for me in this matchup, as the Panthers are tough against wide receiver position, and then Romeo Doubs is going to be a sit. Carolina side of the ball, though, Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, and Jonathan Mingo, we're going to go ahead and sit every single one of those receivers in this game. That's going to move us to Seattle at Tennessee here. DK Metcalf's going to be a start for me in this matchup against Tennessee. Jackson Smith and Jigba and Tyler Lockett are going to be cautionary starts. These two are the ones that are splitting the most targets. DK Metcalf is going to get consistently the same amount of targets, it seems like. Plus, he's a bigger body, harder to get down, so he's definitely going to have a good amount of yards after the catch, which is great for PPR league. So we're going to start DK Metcalf, and the other two are cautionary starts, and Jackson Smith and Jigba and Tyler Lockett. Tennessee side of the ball, DeAndre Hopkins is the only start for me. Treylon Burks is going to be a cautionary start for me. All just depends on what happens with Will Levis in that leg this week. And then Westbrook Ikiner is going to be a sit. This one should be an easy one here. You got the Colts and the Falcons. Now, Michael Pittman does have that concussion. He's still in concussion protocol as of what I've seen as of today on Wednesday, recording this video. So with Michael Pittman, if he does play, he's a cautionary start. Atlanta is going to be home in this game, and they do tend to play a little bit better at home. On top of that, Atlanta's fourth against points given to wide receivers, so it's a tough matchup overall. So Michael Pittman's the only cautionary start. The other two, Josh Downs and Alec Pierce, are sits, and then every receiver on the Falcons is going to be a sit for me in this matchup. That brings us to Jacksonville and Tampa Bay here. Calvin Ridley, Zay Jones are cautionary starts for me in this one. It all just depends on who's at quarterback. They might get elevated a little bit. Trevor Lawrence is at quarterback. Maybe one of these guys is going to break out, but these two are still going to get a lot of targets. It's just, can they actually do anything with it is the biggest question. So they are both cautionary starts for me in this one. Parker Washington is going to be a sit. Tampa Bay side of the ball, though, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, they're both starts for me this week. Obviously, Mike Evans is a wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. Chris Godwin's a low-end wide receiver 2, more of a flex play for me this week, but he should still be able to get you a good amount of points. And then Trey Palmer is going to be a sit. Moving on, we got Dallas at Miami here. CeeDee Lamb's obviously going to be a start. There's no need to even talk about that one. He's going to be in your starting lineup every single week. And then Brandon Cook's actually going to be a cautionary start for me this week, as Miami does tend to give up a decent amount of points to wide receivers, as they are currently 16th. They're middle of the pack, but they have been able to do that with a lot of the worst teams that they have faced. Dallas is obviously a high-octane offense. Let's see if that can continue. Struggled against Buffalo, but now they're in Miami in warmer weather. Let's see what happens. Michael Gallup's going to be a sit for me for Dallas in this matchup. And then on Miami's side of the ball, you got Tyreek Hill, who still has a questionable tag. He should be good to go after sitting out last week, though. I highly anticipate him coming back. And Jalen Waddle took full advantage of that opportunity with no Tyreek Hill, and maybe got that connection with Tua back on track here. So for me in this one, I'm going to go ahead and put them both as starts with how fast they are and how dependable they are when it comes to Tua being able to sling it down the field or short passes that turn into yards after catch. We love the opportunity for yards after catch in fantasy football, especially in PPR leagues. So both these guys are starts, and then Cedric Wilson Jr. is going to be a sit. Bringing us to Arizona and the Chicago Bears. Marquise Brown's going to be a cautionary start for me in this one. He has a questionable tag, but he's going to be the main guy other than Trey McBride when it comes to targets from Kyler Murray. So definitely he is a cautionary start. No more than a flex play for me this week. Michael Wilson and Rondale Moore are going to be sits in this matchup. Chicago side of the ball, the only guy I'm willing to throw in here as a start right now is DJ Moore. Darnell Mooney and Tyler Scott are going to be sits for me on the Chicago side. Next game, we got New England at Denver here. Demario Douglas, Devontae Parker, and Juju Smith-Schuster are all going to be sits for me in this matchup. Denver's actually been a lot better against wide receivers here the last couple weeks, and it's a tough matchup in Denver for me, in my opinion. When it comes to these three, I don't see any support here from these receivers when it comes to points going up on the board for fantasy football. Denver side of the ball, though, we got Courtland Sutton. He'll be a start for me in this one, and Jerry Jeudy's a cautionary start. Jeudy's finally starting to get a little bit of steam here. Let's see if he can maintain it in a matchup against New England, who is 21st against points given up to wide receivers. I like the opportunity for Jerry Jeudy here, but Courtland Sutton definitely a start, as Sutton has become one of the favorite targets for Russell Wilson in the last couple weeks here, and then Marvin Mims is going to be a sit in this game. That's going to kick us off here with our 1 o'clock on Christmas Day. Las Vegas Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs here. I got Devontae Adams as a start in this matchup. Even though it's a tough environment, I do still like Devontae Adams' opportunity here. Jacoby Myers gets more of a cautionary start for me. These receivers can tend to score points from time to time against Kansas City. This year, it just tends to be who's the quarterback in Aiden O'Connell. I'm not super confident in him being able to make both these receivers great this week. But with Devontae Adams, I do like the opportunity that he's going to get a majority of the targets. Jacoby Myers could sneak in there in the end zone as well, which could boost there, and that's why he's a cautionary start. And then Hunter Renfrow is going to be a sit. On the Kansas City side of the ball, though, only one guy I'm starting. That's Rashee Rice. Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney are sits. You got Isaiah Pacheco coming back, it sounds like, too, so that's definitely going to eat into some share in the target situation. So Rashee Rice is definitely going to be a start for me in this game. 4 o'clock on Christmas Day now, you got the New York Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles. Wan'Dale Robinson and Darius Slayton are cautionary starts. No more than a flex play if you absolutely need somebody because of waiver situation or because of injuries. This is more for deeper leagues like a 12, 14, or 16-man league. I wouldn't necessarily put them in as a 10-man league. But going up against the Eagles, who are dead last when it comes to points getting up to wide receivers, not a bad opportunity for these guys to maybe get just some points if you desperately need it. Jalen Hyatt, on the other hand, is going to be a sit. And then on the Eagles side of the ball, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are going to be starts, and Julio Jones is going to be a sit up against the Giants, who are 29th. Not that much better when it comes to points given up to wide receivers. And then probably the best game of the whole entire weekend slate, and that's going to be the Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers. Zay Flowers and Odell Beckham Jr. are going to be cautionary starts for me in this one, though. They are going to have an opportunity for a lot of big plays down the field. They are going to have opportunities to get a lot of targets. 49ers are actually 22nd when it comes to points given up to wide receivers. It just seems like this is going to be more of a tight end battle, in my opinion, even though these receivers are going to put up points. I just think that Isaiah Likely will be more of the focal point in this offense this week. Zay Flowers and Odell Beckham Jr., though, like I said, these guys can both put up a good amount of points. It's just one could eat into the other. I just prefer to keep them as cautionary starts right now. And Rashad Bateman and Nelson Aguilar are going to be sits. On the San Francisco 49ers side of the ball, though, we have Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk as starts in this one, and Juwan Jennings as a sit. Brandon Ayuk, a little bit of a disappointing outing last week. It definitely was a Christian McCaffrey show. Baltimore does tend to have a little bit of a better run defense than a pass defense, which is why I'm looking more towards Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel this week. Christian McCaffrey's still going to get his points. There's no doubt about that. But they might have to throw a little bit more to their receivers and tight ends. And obviously, Jonathan will cover those two positions, the running back and tight end, here in a little bit later in the day. So definitely look out for those videos as well. But other than that, that's going to do it for us on Week 16 wide receiver start sits. Like I said, subscribe goes a long way with us, helps us out a lot. If you have any questions, the comment, drop it in there. Debating about two guys that might be a cautionary or flex position, let us know. Let us know what's going on with the injuries in your roster, and we'll definitely help you out the best we can as quickly as we can. But other than that, you guys have a great holiday. We will see you back here next week for championship weekend. Go win your game. We'll see you next week.